Hey guys, it has been about a month or more since I made a video, so I just wanted to do a little update. I don't have a specific topic, but we'll hit a few things. I'm a little quieter because I'm at Christy and Derek's and the children are sleeping. So I've never been known for my ability to whisper well. So if they don't wake up, it'll be noteworthy. So here we go. I've been busy with all kinds of stuff in the last couple of weeks, so I haven't sat down and written out a specific video I wanted to make, but some general updates I have for you and some things I want to do in the future and a few things that I would be interested in help on and finding out what people want to do. I've told a few of you, may have put it in GroupMe, I don't think I did, but either way, in early January, I was tracking down the graves of the grandparents' greenings. So Adolf and Ida and Adolf's parents, or at least his mother. And I knew from Aunt Kathy and also I think a record that it looked like Ida, Adolf's mother, was buried in Greenmount, which is where Donald and Elaine are, and maybe a few other relatives. So I went there and talked to the people in the office, and the lady there was super helpful. She pulled out a map of the cemetery, was going over all the plots with me. She could not find a record on the date of burial around the year she was buried of Ida, Adolf's mom, being there in the cemetery. I did see another thing on Find a Grave that was really vague. It had her name, it had the years correct, and it even listed her cause of death, which, as Aunt Kathy knows, was from the fire in her house that caught fire on her skirt and ended up burning her, and she died of some blood poisoning. It's a whole rough story, but it lists that she was buried in Greenmount, and whoever put this up, it looked like it wasn't a family member, it was just someone who was adding graves as they found records or just helping people know where people were. And so the cemetery didn't have a record of her there. So that's a bit of a dead end at the moment. I'm going to try and circle back on her and see if there's a way to find out the death record or as it's listed for her, because I did have that lists the cause of death and everything. It says Greenmount, and it doesn't say she was cremated, because the woman at the cemetery said it's possible they wouldn't have a burial plot if the person was cremated, but that doesn't seem to be the case. On a bit more of a, not a happy note, I guess, but a bit more firm bit of information. I did have the record and found where Adolf and Ida were buried, and I knew that they were in Greenmount somewhere for sure. She gave me a little map again, and it's a couple sections over from where our grandparents, or depending on who you are, your parents are buried. Donald and Elaine. I knew where they were, had taken pictures there a couple times. I stopped by their grave when I was there, cleaned it up, had some water and a brush, so it's looking all nice. And I knew that it was a couple sections over or close by. It's a short little drive, sizable enough cemetery. So I went over to find it, but she had already told me before I got to Adolf and Ida's that they don't have a stone. So I went there, she told me where to look. I was looking at the map, I found the people who were next to them, and you can see their spots, there's just no stone. So one of the things I'd like to do is, through all of us, but also extended, greening relatives or people, other of their, not ancestors, but descendants, see if we can put together some money and get a stone. They're not as cheap as they used to be, but if we can get enough people, I'm sure we can spread the cost out to where it's negligible. Because why not? And in 150 years, if people can't find our records, they'll at least be able to see the stone. So that's for sometime this year, maybe. But yeah, interesting that they've been there. Obviously, Adolf was there first, and then Ida 22 years later, but neither time a stone. So I still need to talk to Aunt Lynn. She might be able to give some guidance as to why that was the case, as she's the only remaining child of theirs. And I don't know that she will, but she'll know more than I would and be able to give us some more info on that. So that's where I'm at with the greenings. And as far as the rest of the tree, I was able to do a Google chat, FaceTime kind of thing with Charles Cook on the Hartman side, who as you may have known if I've talked to you or put it in GroupMe, or I don't think I've made a video that includes any of his information, but he is Earl's nephew through Earl's older sister, Nora. His two daughters, who are around my mom's age, they're in their 50s, 60s, they and the one daughter's husband helped set up a video chat with him. He got it on their TV so he could see me. He's a little hard of hearing, but he can get around perfectly well. And they were all there together, and we did a chat for a couple hours, and it was great. I think I did post about them saying they'd love to have us come down and visit, and they're going to also see if they can get Rosemary Hartman, who is Earl's niece through his youngest brother, Paul. She lives out near Pittsburgh. They're going to see if she can come down as well. She's 87. Charles, the other cousin, is 92. Their memories aren't hazy, but I mean, if any of you have spoken to people that age, sometimes they're not super forthcoming, not because they don't want to be, but because they're just kind of like, yep, I remember them. Nope, I don't. Yeah, we did that. Nope, we didn't. They're not just looking to just talk on end, I'm sure, for plenty of reasons. But they did have a lot of cool information. And I think I posted the pictures of the quilt that they had that Annie, our great-great-great-grandmother, or great-great, made, which was super cool. I've been emailing back and forth with Rosemary and her son. She married a Kennedy, so her son's name is, one of her two sons is named William Kennedy. She said, my youngest son's going to send this along to you and all my Hartman research I have. So he sent me that. And it included the pictures I posted in the GroupMe of Solomon and Sarah, which are really, really great. Actually, nope, scratch that. That is not the case. It has the pictures I posted of Edgar holding Herbert, the one of Annie as she's like looking off to the side, which was the only picture I've ever seen of her younger. The pictures of Solomon and Sarah were from another Hartman cousin, the Senator John Rice, his daughter. The files she gave me. That's where that came from, as I mentioned in the post. Don't know how I missed those. For a month or two, I had that and didn't know it. How sad. Shame on me. But I've been talking to them, and Rosemary sent me a Hartman history as well. So I'm going to go through that and check it against everything I have, because I'm sure some of that is information I might not have. But it's pretty much covers the area I've gone through. But still, I know there's more pictures out there. I'm going to see, Rosemary's going to try and get me in contact with some of her other cousins who, or their kids who might have records from their parents, or pictures possibly. And so that's it. Just turning over all those stones all the time, seeing if we can get a date for a meetup this year. And at the very least, get out to that Hartman reunion in June, which I know Charles and his daughters are planning on going to. So as many of us as can go, I'll be there. Let's go and see everybody, which would be cool. Also, I actually just this week added Uncle Ron to the Bushy. There's a Facebook page called Bushy Family Reunion, which I found as I was scouring the Adams County Historical Society's Facebook page. I searched it for keywords, and I found Vicki Hartman, who I've talked about before. She was talking back and forth with this guy named Chris Bushy Jr., and I knew we were Bushies through Sarah Hartman. She was a Bushy, Sarah Bushy. I knew we were Bushies back through them. And I started messaging him. He got me into the Facebook group, and we all share a common ancestor who I believe is Sarah's grandfather, is one, our fifth, sixth great grandfather. And this page has some other resources. I'm going to message some people on there. I've been messaging some of them, and they're like, "Oh, message these other two. They might have pictures of Sarah and her siblings beyond, because one of her brothers was in the Civil War, and there's a whole page to his descendants." I was messaging somebody from that page tonight. But yeah, finding stuff out on the Bushies, still looking into the Mickleys, the Oilers, all of this. So this was a bit rambly, but that's generally the stuff I'm doing right now with it. Obviously, as soon as I find pictures or artifacts or whatever, I'm posting it in the GroupMe, and I'll make videos once I have a longer form bit of information on a specific person or a family, things like that. But I know there's other resources out there, and there's other artifacts and pictures, and I'm going to find them. So if you guys ever want to get on the trail, you're happy to, but I like discovering it, so it's okay if you don't have the time to do it. Yep, so that's all I got. Thanks for listening. Just short of 10 minutes here. I should have another video in the next couple weeks.